Today's topic will be Worksheet Module, Workbook Module, and User Form Module. So these modules are similar to your standard modules, but the way the programs are executed is little different. How? Let me show you. I'll say Alt F11. Previously, I used to insert a module. But now what I'm trying to do is I'll try to write the macros in this sheet itself. So this is sheet module. When I double click, so this is sheet module. And whatever program I write in this workbook, that is workbook module. But why are they actually written macros in this sheet module or workbook module? Sometimes what will happen, I need to execute some macros. Say for example, I'll go here. Suppose if I click on something, then the program should run. Say for example, we had written some programs like this, say 100, 200. Then I used to press F5 or click on a button. So I used to get the result here in D7. Instead, I can write macro here, say sub, or say we'll just write it here in a standard module. So sub add two numbers, say dim num1 as integer, dim num2 as integer. Then I'll take num1 equals sheet1 dot range of, will take this value, that is d5 dot value. The next num2 d6 dot value. Now the total, we'll put it here like this, say in d7 num1 plus num. Now when I execute this, I'll get the result here. So to get this result, what I'm trying to do is I'm going here and pressing this button, or say press F5, or I'll take one button here and assign to that. Instead, see, I'll just copy the same number, same program, the same program I'm copying. This time, I'll go to this sheet one, and here we have two drop downs. One is general, other one is declaration. Let me click on this general. I have here worksheet. Let me click on this worksheet. Once I click on this worksheet, I'll paste this program. So what will happen here? I'll get one event, that is selection change. See, the selection change, what it will do is whenever I do any selection, say for example, I'll just click somewhere, I'll get the result here. Let me go and change this. See, automatically it will change. The programs are executed automatically. That means these sheets will have some events here. So depending on the events, the programs what we have written is executed. And these programs are same programs what we have done till now. It can be if conditions, loops, or the programs what we have studied in the beginning, that is hide, unhide sheets, or anything. All the programs, whatever is there, I can write here, but the programs are executed based on these events. Right. This is selection change. Likewise, there are so many events. Let's go and see. Now let me copy this again. I don't want this to happen while selection change. I want to happen this when I double click. Let's go on top. See, I have this double click. Let me click on this double click. I'll paste this program. Now let me comment this. Comment means this program will not run. Otherwise, I'll get confused for which comment this program is running. See now, selection change won't work. See. So what I have given here, that is double click. Now when I double click here, see, the program will run. Now you change anything, it will not change. Suppose if I want to get this result, I have to double click. See? Likewise, I have so many events. You can take those events and then you can write your say required program. So you can write any program that will get executed based on the event what we have here. Let's say we can write the program by right click. We'll go here. I'll say right click. And let me copy the same program and I'll put it here. And here I'll just comment this. I have this right click. See, selection change won't work, double click won't work. But when I say right click, see, the program will run. Right click. You can right click anywhere, see, anywhere in the sheet. So this is actually sheet module. So sheet module and workbook module, nothing much to discuss, but the events you should know. There are so many events like this. So depending on the events, I can execute my program. So if I go here, see, I'll just explain few of them. Activate. That means when I activate this sheet, say I am in a different sheet. If I activate this sheet, something should happen. When I say deactivate, when I deactivate, if I'm going out of the sheet, then what should happen? So this is sheet module. Let me save this. Just save it. Right. Then what is workbook module? Workbook module means it is an events for the entire workbook. So what are those? Let's say Alt F11. I'll go to this workbook. Double click on this. Here I'll have, see, an object workbook. If I click on this workbook, I'll get one event that is workbook open. So this is the first macro which will get executed as soon as I open the workbook. Let it be any program. Whatever program I have written here, this is the first macro which will run as soon as I open the work. Let's write one program. I'll say message box, welcome to online class. Let me save this and I'll close this. Let me close the entire workbook. Saving and I'm closing it. Right. Let me open this. See, as soon as I open, automatically this message is coming. That means depending on the event, the message is coming. Otherwise, I'll have to go and press F5. You can write any program here. Say, for example, usually this workbook module, sheet module mostly are used in dashboards. Let's say I have this workbook. I want the sheet, whatever is there, that should open this sheet when I'm opening this workbook. Say, for example, I have some 5 sheets. I've saved the file here and I'm closing it here. So I've saved the file in sheet 5. When I open this, it will open sheet 5 only. But I want this to open in sheet 1. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go here in this workbook, say sheet 1 dot activate. Save this. Now let me go here. Same thing, I'm saving it in sheet 5. Say if I open this file, see, automatically it will go to this sheet 1. So again, in workbook module, whatever you want to do throughout the workbook with the events, that I can write the programs here. And these programs can be anything, but it depends on the event. Let's say as soon as I open the workbook, I don't want to see the headers. I don't want to see the grid lines. I can just go here. Let me just comment this because every time this message will be keep coming. I'll say application dot display full screen equals true. This will make the application true as in it is opening the workbook. Now I'll say active window dot display grid lines equals false. Active window dot display headings equals false. Now let me save this. I'll close the file and then let me open this file. See, it became full screen, no grid lines and no headings. So likewise, as soon as I open a workbook, what should I do? So that I can do it in this workbook. Like in sheet module, here also have so many different events. These events you can select and write any programs in that. So based on the events, it will actually run the program. So for example, while closing, I want to do something. Let's go here. I'll say before close. So before close, I should work on something. I'll say this workbook dot close. And last for save changes, I'll say true. When I say true, that means while closing the workbook, it will not ask any message. If I've done any changes, automatically it will close. Say for example, I'll go here, I'll change something here. So I've done some changes here. I'll not click on save. I'll close the file. See, it will not ask me any message. Directly it is closing. Let me open this file. Okay, see, this got saved. That means when I'm actually doing some changes, if this message is not given, this code is not given, let me just comment this. Say I'll change something. Now if I try to close this file, it will ask a message. But same thing, if I'm going and giving this code, this workbook.close, and say true, that is before close, it will not ask anything. It will directly close. That is, we are trying to force saying that it has to close. That is while before closing. So likewise, you can write any code whatever we have learned till now in this sheet module or in workbook module, but the programs actually run based on whatever event we have specified. So this is workbook module and sheet module, and these workbook module and sheet module will be mostly used in say dashboards or creating some templates. Right. Coming to the next one, that is user form module. And user form module are again very simple ones. I'll show you what it is. User form modules are actually used for creating input forms. Input forms means getting the values. Say for example, I'll go here. I want to collect some information. Let me go here to a sheet. Just change this WKS user form. Let's say I'm collecting some information here. We'll say name, age, gender. Okay, and say file and say address. So I have 5 fields. I want to collect some information out of it. I can type the names here and I can collect the information. But let me make it like a form. Like we have this Google form where I'll have the form, I'll enter something and that will get saved. Similarly, I'll go here, I'll try to create a form here so that the user will enter the details and that will get saved here. So how to do that? Let's go here. We'll create one simple form. Right click, insert a user form. So I can see this user form here. I'll click on this user form. I'll get one form like this. This one. So I can put any controls here. What are controls? These are the controls. Say I want to have a text box. I can go here. I can have this text box. I want a checkbox. I can put it here. Option button. I can take this. I want to put a button. I can take this. So I have so many controls here. Depending on my requirement, I can keep adding this. Apart from this, right click and say additional controls. There are so many controls which you can add it here. Like this. Now I want to collect these 5 fields information. So what we'll do, we'll go here, we'll put one text box here like this. And we'll put a label here saying name. Let's put it here like this. Next information, what I'm trying to collect is age. We can make a copy of it and paste. I'll change this to age. Say I'll reduce this so that this much is enough. Now say gender. Gender can be a selection. It's a male or female. That means optional. So what I'll do, I'll go here and I can use this option button and I'll click here. And here I'll say male and say female. Like this. Then I need a label. Copy this, paste it, and we'll put it here. Make it gender. So this is designing what we are doing. We are designing the form. Mobile. Then again, it's a text box. Just trying to copy and paste it here, and I'll say mobile. Next is the address, and I'll paste it here, and I'll say address. I can increase this text box. So just a simple user form I've created. Then I can reduce this here. It's very flexible like this. I'll go here. I'll just reduce it and keep it. All the information, whatever I'm entering here, when I click on the button, that should get saved in my Excel sheet. So for that, what I'll do, I have one button here. Let me take this and I'll put it here. And here I'll say submit. And then I'll just make a copy of it, say Control C, Control V, and I'll say cancel. Right. My form is ready. Now I need to write the program on this. So what I'll do, I'll go here. Let me select these controls and rename them, because see, when I double click here, I'm getting this as text box 1. Let me go back. When I double click on this, it says text box 3. So I'll not know these controls are for which text boxes. Say for example, if I go here, see, I have this, I want to write a program on this. If I would have renamed it, it will be easy for me to know whether it's a name or age or gender or whatever. But now it says text box 1, text box 2. So what I'll do, I'll try to rename this. Always have the habit of renaming any object so that it will become easy for me to write the programs or recognize those objects. How to rename? So we have this property window. Just press F4. When I press F4, I'll get this property window. Select the object. I'll get these objects here like this. Here it says text box 1. So what I'll do is I'll use this prefix as txt so that it will be easy for me to know that it is text box. Txt, and I'll say name. Enter. Now double click here. See, it got changed to txt name. Previously it was text1, text 5 or say text 3. So that will be difficult for me to know which text box it is. Right. So what we'll do the same thing for all the other objects. Select this. I'll say txt age and I'll say end. Fine. Now have this gender. Select this. Say opt male and then opt female. I given this opt because it is optional button. You can give any name, but it is a good practice to have a prefix of that object. Let's select this mobile. I'll say txt mobile and then txt address. Next is the button. Select this. Say btn submit. Then here I'll say btn cancel. My object names are ready. Now we'll see how I can write the program on this so that the data whatever I'm entering here will get saved in this database. Let me just click on this run button. See, I got this form. I can enter this and say submit. The data should get saved here. Let's see how to do this. Let me just double click on the submit because this is the button where if I click on this, then all these details will get saved. Double click here. First thing is, let's take a count equals count A. From here till bottom, I'll take the count. The reason why I'm taking the count is if I'm entering one data here, next time it should go and save it here. So it goes on one below the other. So let me go back. So dim int c as integer. That is, I'll take this d3. Say int c equals wks user form. So here let's rename this as well. Right. Say wks user form dot range of d3 dot value. Right. Now I need to enter the value here. Say d, e, f, g, whatever. I'll say wks user form dot range. Then here I'll say d6 dot value equals txt name dot value. Let me copy this and I'll paste it here. I'll say e6 dot value. That is this one. Then this will be age. Right. Next, gender. Gender, we have option, that is male or female. This is not an input. We are not giving any say characters by typing. This is by selection. So for this, what I'll do, I'll go here. I'll say if opt male equals true. That means if that option button is selected, then else and if. Now here I'll say this cell, that is f6 dot value is equal to male. Otherwise, we'll make it as female. All right. Next one is the mobile and the address. Let's go here. Again, I'll take. So here I'll say g6 dot value equals txt mobile. Let me copy this, paste it. Here I'll say h6. And we'll change this to address. Fine. Now my code is ready, and then I'll execute this. We'll type some value here. Then age, say male. Let me input. And then here, if I say submit, see what will happen. See, the values are getting submitted. Let me close this. Again, let's say run this. Now if I type anything here, I'll say and here I'll say submit. See, it is getting replaced with the same row. The reason is here I've given this G6, F6, or say D6 or whatever. So it is hard coded. So for that reason, what I've done is I've taken this INTC. That means the counter. Now if you go and check this, see, this has become 1. So what I'll do, I'll use this INTC here so that it will have that count and it will go on pasting the data or say entering the data one below the other. So how to use this? I'll just take this INTC, remove this row number, say enter INTC. This will be 0 in the beginning. Let's remove this, see. But I need to start this from 6th row. I'll say plus 6. Let me copy this and I'll paste it here. Again, let me paste it here. So replace all these row numbers with this, like this. So what will happen? See, in the beginning, INTC will be 0 plus 6. That means D6. Same thing will happen, say F6, then G6, then H6, like this. Now let's go and run this. Say name, age, then I'll select gender, then I'll say sub, right? Okay, let me close this. Let's run this again. I'm typing one more record here. Now if I say submit, see, it is going to the second row. Now previously it was replacing the same cells because here we had given say D6, E6, F6, G6 and H6. Now what we have done, we've just taken one more this thing, that is one variable which we actually gave INTC, that is 0 plus 6 in the beginning. Now as soon as these records get added here because of this count, so now it is 2. Next record if I'm entering, so it will be 2 plus 6, it is 8, so it will go to this row. So this is how I can actually plan writing the macros. We saw how to input the values here. When I say submit, I'm getting the values here. Fine. But what will happen sometimes when I'm actually running this, say, some people might just say submit here like this. Without entering anything, they are saying submit. So what will happen is, see here, I'll have this blank values here, blank values here. So there are some compulsory fields, or some people might enter like this. Say something like this. See? Now when I say submit, see, which is actually not correct. Now I need to validate this such a way that here I should get the numbers from 0 to 100 and only numbers, and this should not be blank like compulsory fields. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go here. Before entering the values, I will give the validation. Say if txt name dot value equals blank, then end. So here I'll say message box, please enter and here I'll say exit sub. So what this will do is it will force me to enter the data. Let me go here. I'll delete this. I'll do it from beginning. Run this. See, now if I'm not entering anything as a submit, it will ask. That means it is restricted. The same thing let's do for age as well. Let me copy this, and here I'll say age. Here I'll say please enter age. Now I cannot leave the age also blank. But age, I should enter the value from 0 to 100, nothing more than that. And also I should enter only numbers. So now we have two more validations to be done on the same field. Let me paste it. Now here what I'll do, I'll say first thing is I should enter the value from 0 to 100. Say txt age dot value is greater than, sorry, less than 0, or txt age dot value is greater than 100, then please enter age between 0 and 100. This is one more validation. Let's go here. I want to enter only numbers. I'll say if txt age dot value, this should be number. Say is numeric of txt age dot value, then enter. Now this is numeric will actually check it is number or not. But I want to check if it is not number, then only you should get the validation. So what I'll do, I'll say not is numeric. Then I'll say message box. And here I'll say please enter age in number. We're given few validation. Likewise, we can give validations for all the other controls as well here. So whatever you feel that has to be entered, so you can keep giving the validations. But this validation should be in the beginning only. So let me run this. See, first thing is I'll say submit. It will ask for name. I'll go and I'll give the name. Now I'll say submit. See, it will ask for age. Now I'll type age here. See, enter. It'll say please enter age in number. Now I'll type one number. I'll say 456. See, please enter age between 0 to 100. So what it will do, it will restrict saying that it has to enter this much of values, these values only. That is called as validation. Fine. Next step, we learned about how to name the fields, that is our controls, then program on that, and also we learned about the validations. Fine. Next is, as soon as I enter the data, it has to close. Click on this submit. In the end, I'll say close this form what you have opened. Before that, we'll try to rename this, which says user form 1. Say F4. Here I'll say FRM details. And here I can say user form 1. These are all some aesthetic changes what we can do. I'll go here in this caption. I'll say details. Say inquiry details. I'm just changing this. See, here I change the name of this form. Here I'm changing the label of this form. Fine. Now let's go to this submit. In the end, I'll say FRM details dot unload. Sorry. Unload FRM details. When I say unload FRM details, what will happen? Whatever the form is opened, that is loaded in the memory, that will be closed. Say like this. So quickly I'll enter. Now if I say submit, see, it is entering and it is getting closed. When I click on this cancel, same thing should happen. Say unload FRM details. Now if I run this, if I just say cancel, nothing will be entered and it will come. Fine. So we learned about how to create a simple form. Then we also saw how to write program on that and then save the data by entering these values. Right. Now, every time I'm going here and say F5 and I'm trying to open this form. Instead, what I'll do is I'll put one button here, say insert, and then I'll take one shape and I'll put it here. I'll say open form. Then when I click on this, I'll make it center. If I click on this, the form should get opened. So for that, I'll go to this module 1. Here I'll say sub form frm details dot show. Now we'll take this macro, right click and say assign macro. We'll assign this macro. Now see, the form will get opened here. I can enter the data. Then enter address. See, if I say submit, it will submit and it will close. I can click on this. Again, I'll get this form like this. Let me save this. So this is how I can create one form, and the form can be, any design or any kind of controls depending on your requirements, depending on your say need. So you can create the form and the controls and then take the input forms here like this and then get the values. Now coming to the usage of these forms. These forms are nothing related to any analytics, or say this will not help me in doing any analyzing of the data. This is actually for collecting of the data. Collecting of the data in the sense. Now what will happen is, let's assume that we have an institute or say one portal where I need to collect the information. So for that, what we have to do is you have to create one form here. When I click on this and I have to enter the data here. Now coming to the collection of data, sometimes people think that, okay, we'll give this Excel sheet itself so that people will keep entering, then I can get the bulk data. But when you think about the security, here one person is entering the data and one more person is going and entering here. So you can see all the data here. He might, collect the data. So instead, what we actually do is, or in any forms, any data collection, we need to give one form like this. So you would have seen in Naukri or say in any other portals where they collect information. So it will be like a form and we start entering it. And these forms will be given to so many people at a time. They'll be keep entering and there'll be a lot of data which is getting captured in the backend. Let me go here. I just take this button and I'll put it in another sheet. So let's assume that I have one button here. So this will be, let's say, hidden. I'll hide this. Now the database is not seen. Let me click on this. When I click on this, I'll get this form. Let me enter the data. And here I'll say submit. See, I submitted. Now let me unhide this and see that data what I entered will be captured here. So likewise, I can create a form and I can collect the information. So these informations what I'm collecting, that can be used for analyzing the data. See how many of them have been registered. So gender wise I need a report, age wise I need a report, the address wise I need a report, or still there will be so many information which I'll be collecting. So based on that I can create the reports. But these user forms are actually used to collect informations. So when I say that I need to collect the information, so I have to give something like this so that this will become more easy to get the information from the user side. So they can go, they can keep entering the data here.
Adi, one question.
Yeah.
Like when we are giving the user form,
Mm.
so if I'm having like 50 employees who's reporting to me,
Mm.
uh, I can give this user form and they can enter the data.
Yes.
But is there any possibility to get that consolidated data in one seat, like for all the 50 employees?
See, Katir, let me finish this. Okay, I'll come to your point. Let me finish this.
Okay.
2 minutes will just finish this, and then I'll come to your point. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Now, this form, whatever is there, so this will be given to the user, and then the data is collected. So what will happen is this database, whatever is there, this will be like a centralized. Now I'm just using one Excel sheet, but usually this will be centralized. Centralized in the sense we'll be using either say Excel itself, or it can be used as a database softwares like SQL Server or say MS Access or anything. So based on that selection, so whatever is there, so the user will be keep entering the data and will be keep collecting it in one centralized place. So for that reason, what we actually do is we'll create these forms so that the user can easily enter the data and you can submit it and I can collect the information. This is not always for only one person sitting and entering. So it can be like one person sitting and entering the data, or we can send it to the multiple people and they can enter the data and then collect the information. So it can be anyways. But if at all something like this, then these database will be centralized. Okay. So this is what we have for today. That is, we learnt about the sheet module, workbook module, and then user form modules.